Hello.
Hi.
Hey, hey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very excited to do this live with you.
Me too. And thank
Yeah,
you again for inviting me. That means a lot. So thank you.
thank you. Thanks to you for finding the time and for all the preparation. And by the way, also thank you to all the people who was connected because I saw there was already 85 people
No
connected.
way.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow. Thank you guys.
Thank you to everyone. And this also reminds me of something that when we are nervous about something, we can reframe this nervousness on I'm excited about doing
Yes.
this. And one more thing, which is the excitement comes also from one side, from the respect for the people's time of
Yeah.
all these people that are connecting and spending and investing 1 hour perhaps of their time
Yeah.
plus of your time
Yeah.
and of your compromise and your focus. And this is also something that, as you know, you are a time management, time reclaimer, as you define yourself. And this is also something that it also gives me a big responsibility because you chose to invest 1 hour of your time.
Yes.
And this
Absolutely.
also connect me to one thing, which is why are we here? And you are one of the people here on this community, which I appreciate the most because you're always supportive, always sharing, always with something additional to build and to add into every conversation. And this is something that I value a lot. And many months has passed since we connected virtually, then we saw in person.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that I met you in this place. So thank
Likewise.
you.
Likewise. So thank you.
Thank you. And one more thing, we are not going to watch the chat because we will be focusing on the conversation. So I'll just take out the everything here so I don't see it. And then we come back to the chat, to the questions at the middle of the session. And then, of course, if we have not enough time, we can always answer in later.
Sounds good. Sounds
Great.
good. Yes.
So my first question to people who don't know you and who just connected is, Kate, what's your story? You have an amazing story, so I would
Do
love to
I?
hear your story and how you're living this moment and what's your previous story.
Oh my God. So my story, I think I rarely tell my story, I think. I mean, I try to put it a little bit in my posts, but I don't necessarily tell it. You're probably right. Maybe it's a good opportunity for me to reintroduce myself for those who are
Yeah.
following me as well. So, my background is in client relationship management and client experience. So I worked in luxury fashion, luxury hospitality, and luxury watches for almost 15 years. And I was always an organization freak. So I started training about 10 years ago and I really loved it. And then I met someone in the company I was working for who introduced me to coaching. And I started really resonate with coaching because this was something that I was doing when I was little. I was 11 years old when I was playing tennis. I played tennis for 10 years. So coaching for me was sort of linked with sports. So that spoke to me. And I started coaching more and more in the company, and I received a lot of positive feedback, which to my surprise. So, and it was interesting because it actually gave me a lot of positive energy to myself.
Mm.
And I started connecting the dots between the two because for a very long time I was looking for something to do on my own, and coaching and training spoke to me. And so I asked my company actually to support my training education, so my coaching education, and
Mm.
that's how I became an accredited coach. And then I decided to leave the company and do it on my own. And I chose to do it productivity because, well, I value time a lot. I think there are things that happen in my life that made me realize that we overestimate the amount of time we have in life.
Mm.
And that's why I started thinking, how can I use my time more intentionally? And I realized that busyness for me has always been a good thing, but for a lot of people that are around me, they suffered from being busy. So I started asking myself questions, why is that? And the answer that I gave to myself, and I still give to myself, it's because we do not necessarily use our time intentionally every single
Mm.
day. And that's why I said, sort of, maybe it's selfish, but I want to have more happy people and more joyful people around me. And I think that by becoming good busy, so becoming more intentional with our time, we can achieve that. And that's why I started, talking about good busy.
Wow, I love it, and I also love how you combine all these things, and the coaching from the sports, and then the leadership and the team, plus the learning and your own learning to find what do you want, what impact you want to have. And when you said that we overestimate the amount of time we have, and at the same time we are not intentional, so it looks like it's a devilish combination. We are not intentional on one side, so we do whatever pops out, and then we also overestimate. Not only, perhaps, what comes to me is that we overestimate the time that we have, and at the same time we underestimate the time that we take to do something. So it's an
Yeah,
explosive combination of then you realize, what
it
did I
is.
do?
Yeah,
Uh, do you have
exactly.
any an anecdote or something that really pops out when you think about this?
I think, I mean, even myself, with the
Yeah.
there are tasks that I really don't like to do. Accounting is one of them. So
Mm.
every time I sort of put, as they say, eat that frog. So I put it in the morning. I know that I'm super productive in the morning, so it's there. I just gotta eat it, and every single time it's just like tomorrow. It's like tomorrow. Like I do it, but as you said, I underestimate how much time will it take. And it's not because I'm not productive, it's because like I don't like doing it. And so this whole emotions kind of slow me down. And because I want to do it really fast, so I underestimate the time. And then at the end, I say, okay, it was not 1 hour. I have 1 hour more, but tomorrow. So it's sort of always like this. And I think it's kind of human as
Yeah.
well. I think we are, especially when we talk about productivity, we try to think that we need to squeeze every minute of the day and we need to be
Mhm.
become perfect sort of robots, but we're never going to be
Machine.
robots, right? We are
Yeah.
humans, so it's important to embrace that humanity. And what helps me is laughter. Like I laugh. Like there are moments where I know, for example, in the afternoon I'm less productive, so I know this. I close everything and I just go procrastinate. But I do it in a mindful way.
Yeah.
So it's not that I procrastinate, every single day, but I know that I need a half an hour of, mindful procrastination to get back on track. Because if I'm going to push myself through this, it's just going to be too slow
Yeah.
and it's not worth it. So I think it's just laugh about it and just be accepting, I guess in
Yeah.
English, really accepting of yourself and of your humanity. That's all it is. Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's beautiful how you are a productivity coach, and we could imagine that, oh, you have everything figured out, everything is
Of
perfectly timed,
course.
and you are here telling of your own weaknesses, and we all have. Also, I also have it, and this is also something that I value, because when we see someone, oh, I do it everything perfect, I'm just master of the universe, and then you know what you show outside, and you compare the app with the other people's outside with your inside, and then you say,
Yeah.
how do they do this? It's impossible. And then the reality is that they don't. And people
Exactly.
always show you what the good
Exactly.
part.
Yeah. But that's
So
again being human. And speaking of
yes.
perfect, for me, that's how I look at you, because when I see, the amount of work, and for me, this is like you are the greatest example that it's possible. It's possible to be good busy because I don't know if people know, but you have a full-time job, you do all your illustrations yourself, and you keep on saying to me that it's really easy, Kate. I don't believe that. So I really don't. And then you also create posts and you post every single day. On top of this, you have your newsletter, you are a father to two kids, and then you have your Instagram as well. So, and now you're doing your amazing lives talking to wonderful people. So, my question to you that I've been dying to ask all this time, although I've met you personally and stuff, how do you do that? What's the secret that I haven't figured out, because I honestly think it's admirable. Like I very much admire everything that you do and how consistently you do that and the attitude that you do it with.
Thank you, Kate. So the truth is that I have 10 clones of myself.
That AI, I knew that. AI.
Yes. Okay, so we're getting there. I don't know if we're getting there, but okay, let's now seriously. And as you see, I also love to laugh a little bit and not take ourselves too seriously,
Yeah,
because we are
exactly.
not, we are human, as you said. And yeah, one of the biggest time savers is not watching television. Not watching television, series. I know I miss a lot of things. I don't even watch the news. And my mother is like, "What? You're not watching the news?" And I always say, "Mom, don't worry. If there is something really big going on, everyone is going to talk about this. So I will not miss it." And at the same time, this is also something that I really believe, because the news are always like focused on negatives, focused on what's wrong, what's happening, and makes you worry. So I take out all this from my life, and it's like a liberation when I started not watching the news and not, and I don't even, let's say, care. Of course, yes, I care what happens, but it's out. It's so out of my control that I cannot do anything. So this is the first, and then the other is to have really my priority. What's the most important thing? The most important thing in this case, for example, now is my family, now, and more than ever, because of my personal situation with my family. It's my biggest concern and priority. And then comes everything else. And as you said, this also connects with being intentional. I want to be intentional. What's my goal? And of course, I will deviate. Of course, I will not do this. But I think it helps a lot. I have a little practice. There's a person, and I don't remember the name. I will put in the comment, by the way. A person shared with me in an agile conference, which was from Management 3.0, which, by the way, is an amazing community. And I remember he said, I have this practice, and every morning I set up my 3 top goals of the day and my intention for the day. So I think about what's the intention in terms of emotion, in terms of what do I want to express in this day, and this helps a lot. When the the Tim Urban video, the procrastination, the instant gratification monkey
Yeah.
comes, and they say, "Oh, I want to do this," and I say, "Yeah, yes, but what was the intention?" And this helps to take off to
Yeah.
the monkey.
Yeah.
And I found it is really useful, especially for the emotion, because if I said, today I want to be patient, I want to be grateful for what I have, etc., etc. This helps a lot
Yeah.
when the temptation comes to just to do whatever. And then one thing, which is also a beautiful thing of doing the things for quite a long time, you start combining things. And for example, the illustration, when you have a certain work that you did, you can build on this work. And then when you are, for example, with my daughter, of course I'm not doing the illustration, not all, but some I'm doing with her. Some idea comes and then I write it down. Or vice versa, or I'm doing something and show my daughter, and I try to look like all these things are overlapping and they are not separate. I'm not 100%, okay, this is work, this is life, and I have to draw a red line. Also because I miss opportunities, for example, to bring beautiful things that I see outside my work inside, and vice versa, to see something that really was amazing or something with a relationship, and then I use it as an inspiration for what I share. So this is also, I think, what gives me energy, and it's very intentional at the same time, because you want, of course, you cannot focus on 3,000 things, but 4 or 5 things, and that's how it works. And again, as you said, with all these ups and downs, and today, I don't feel like doing this, and try to eat the frog, and the frog doesn't go. Like, okay, stuck. tomorrow. I eat half frog today and half tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's so interesting. But the thing that you just shared is exactly what I also have incorporated into my life. So, in my 20s, I used to watch news every single morning. And in my 30s, I replaced, and I talk about it in my content as well, I replaced news, the morning news, with TED Talks. That's why I watched over 2,000 TED Talks. And it's incredible how it changes your perspective of the world, but not necessarily because you learn new things and stuff, but it's simply because of that negativity that the news brings to us every single day. The other day, I was listening to a podcast. I think it was Jay Shetty who said that he read that today, in one day, we consume 25 years of tragedy. I never can pronounce this word, please. Tragedy. Yeah, here, I got it. That we would consume 25 years ago in our lifetime. So it's incredible how much negativity enters through TV. I don't have TV, for example. I watch movies, I watch this, but I use a projector, so I don't have a TV. And it's incredible when you stop watching the news, how your life changes, how your perspective of life changes right away. In my 20s, I heard so often people saying to me, and I don't blame them because it was the case, why are you so negative? And I didn't realize this until in my 30s, people started asking me, how are you so positive? And it shocked me because I'm like, really, am I? As I never thought of myself as a positive person because, I learned how I was in my 20s. But the news made a huge difference on me when I stopped watching the news. And that the intention, so what you mentioned, writing the goals. So I don't have daily goals in terms of I'm not writing daily goals, but I plan my day the day before. But what I do also, I have a gratitude journal where I write 3 things that I'm grateful for just before bed. And every single time in that gratitude journal, I write the intention for the day, for the next day. Because I already know my plan for the day and I know exactly the emotions. You mentioned the emotions. I know exactly the emotions that I need to make it through that day and be good busy throughout the day. And at the end, feel kind of stress-free and say, okay, I'm satisfied with what I achieved today. So yeah, and then the last thing that you said about the connection, I think that's also why I'm not, and I love how you always talk about it in your posts. You say it's work and life integration, because the idea of work and life balance sort of doesn't necessarily resonate with me because we're leaving work aside, whereas there is a huge amount of time that we spend at work. And we often talk about, we see only one side of the coin. We always talk about work in terms of, it takes us away from our families, but we never think of what does work bring to our family.
Yes.
Right? So we all have to work one way or another. We have to make a living, right? We have to put food on our table. We have to have a home, right? We have to take care of the kids and maybe parents and other things, right? And we want to also enjoy the joys of life. But for this is what work helps us to do. And whatever work it is, it can be an entrepreneurship. It can also be, you can be an employee. There are so many people that just love being an employee, and there is nothing wrong with it. And I just think that it's the whole mindset of putting it all together and bringing it together to realize it's not one or another. I talk to many people who retired, and they have difficulties. It's a difficult period in their time because they stop working. Well, that's the dream. They don't work anymore, but somehow they are not happy. Why? Because they don't feel useful. And this is what we want. We want to feel useful, right? We want to feel valued. And I think that's integrating all of it kind of helps. I was listening earlier at lunch today, Nick Kyrgios talking to Jay Shetty, and he said something incredible. He's like, I don't like tennis. It's like, I'm doing it only because then I can provide for my family, I can spend more time with my family. And that's okay not to, you see, even as an athlete who's the top athlete is saying, I don't like my work. And sometimes it's okay. Of course, it's ideal when you love what you do, but he finds meaning in it in a different way. And that's, I think, the connection that you're talking about. So that's beautiful. But it's actually when you were talking about your daughter and illustration. So another question that I was always dying to ask you, and I didn't ask you when we met,
Sure.
is how did you get into illustrations? Like, how did you
Uh,
start?
that's an interesting story. And let me add one thing before it comes out of your mind. When you said now, and it's also connected to illustration, and you said about your intentions. And when you put your intention on something, you start seeing this in the
Yeah,
world. And this is valid into your work, into life, and for creativity.
absolutely.
And this
Yeah.
is, for example, something that for illustration, sometimes people ask me, oh, how can you do all this illustration? But actually, I don't think I do so many. I have more in the backlog that I can actually do. I always have a big backlog. And part of the beauty is that when you put your mind on something, that you notice these things. As if I say, go around and count all red cars that you see, you will see a lot of red cars. Oh, how many red cars are here? But this is also the same as if I said, find black cars. The difference is that you're looking for something,
Yeah.
and this is the intention.
Yeah.
And this also connects with the creative practice because what the story of starting illustration is, it's quite a funny one. And I was again talking about consuming. I was really amazed by the work of other illustrators were doing here on social, especially in the beginning on Twitter, which where I discovered all this form of communication, which is also some art and communication. It's like a mix. And I found Janice Osolins, who is
Yeah.
also the person who has
Okay.
this brilliant course on how to explain the idea visually, and he shares everything that he knows. And I started to follow him, and as an experiment, I mean, this was in 2021 when NFT craze was like, oh, this is everything is going to be an NFT and it's going to be worth millions. And then it was not like this. But the story is that I bought, to do an experiment and also to support his work, I bought one of Jenny's NFT. And I reached out and I said, oh, Jenny, I bought this. I really love your work and amazing. And he said, oh, do you want to have access to the course? And you said, oh, yeah, you have a course. Yes, to learn how to explain idea visually. And I said, oh, yeah, why not? Let's play. And then I started as a game. And actually, I bought the iPad. And literally, it was for me and for my daughter. Then now it's for me all 99% of the time.
That was the excuse to buy the
Yeah, exactly.
iPad.
But the way to justify, yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
do this because it's also an educational
Of course.
tool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about the overlap. So I
Yeah.
found a useful overlap between family and hobby.
Yeah.
And then I started to do it and did and more and more and more. And then fast forward, I have 767 illustration and counting. And it's
That's
really, really fun. And what I also love is how in the visual community and in general in this space in social media, we can inspire each other. It's not like you're on your own, you have to do this and you do it for yourself, which is also true because I believe that you have to do this because you like it and you have fun. But at the same time, you share it. And by sharing it, you can first have ideas from others,
yeah.
which I had many from you also, from your comment, from your idea, from other articles. And then you see something from another illustration. And, oh, I like this. I want to do the same, but with a twist. And then you see another one. And so we build on each other. And it's beautiful. And it's also a way to connect with people, to share, to go deeper into ideas. And
Yeah.
it's really, really interesting. And encourage everyone who wants to try to give it a try. You don't need to be an artist or designer. You will talk about Tim Urban. If we will put the link in the comment for those who didn't see it. But there is this very, very ugly drawing, which is brilliant at the same time, of a
Yes.
monkey in the brain of the person. It is doing by hand. Maybe he didn't use even a software. He did it in Paint in Windows, but it's amazing
It's
because it's a way
brilliant.
to communicate.
Yeah.
And now this has been seen by millions of people. So it's a way to connect and to express your idea in your own way. So
Yeah.
definitely, everyone, of course, has to choose their own medium, but I will encourage visual communication is amazing. And you also do this in your post. I see
Well,
that you do.
just I hope
Yeah,
people already know that it's not mine.
yeah.
I wish I could draw, but I have many talents, but that's not one of them. My sister actually, she draws, so she's a designer, but so kind of the genes decided to go one side and other genes went to the other side. So but I'm reading now a book called The Laws of Creativity. And I think that's exactly what the book also, the key message of the book is that creativity is connectivity. So it's that idea that, and I think we talked with you once about it, that it's very hard to invent something completely
Yes.
new these days. So it's just getting that inspiration, from right and left, connecting it and seeing and sharing, with the world what you connected through your own lens, what you see through your own lens. And I think that's why a lot of people are scared to be creative, is because they think that they need to invent something new, whereas in reality it's extremely hard to invent something new these days.
Yes, absolutely. And this also reminds me, one of the things that I also appreciate a lot what you do, because you are always, always sharing your sources. You don't say, oh, this is mine. No, you have an idea, you take something here, something there, and you give it your own perspective. And and this is something that I also believe, because take, for example, the Stoic ideas have been here for millennia. And we are always spinning it. And the difference is that the ideas are probably the same. There's one that I love, which is the arrow. You can aim, you can do everything, but then when you shoot, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And this was true in the Roman Empire, and it's true now. The difference is that now we are in 2024, and the context is different, the relationships are different, your view of the world is different. And for example, you have the combination of working in luxury, being a team leader, a coach, a sports professional, all these things. This is unique to you. No one will have this same perspective. And this is what probably and I value for what you share. Not the big idea, but what's your take on it? So I admire also how you share the ideas and you cite the sources, because this also gives you more credibility, because you're not trying to, okay, this is my original idea. No, I have nothing original. I'm just connecting things, and the connection is the unique part that
Yeah.
no one can, on one side, copy, but at the same time, everyone has its own. So this is
Yeah.
perfect, fine.
Yeah. And I think this is why I think it's the values, right? And I think we connect on these values as well, because you always credit people you learn from in your posts. And even when you share, you mentioned about the ideas, it's like amazing when you credit me for the idea, and you did that several times in your post, which is rare these days. And we value what's rare. And I think that we are not born with skills. Nobody's born with skills. We all learned somewhere. And I think it's nice to share where you learn that from, because if the person is curious, it just simply allows them to learn more if they want to,
Yes.
and it directs them to that source. Because I think that they say sharing is caring, right? So this is what sort of you do. You just
Yeah,
you just
absolutely.
spread the word about the things that you like and inspired you, so that they can inspire others.
Absolutely. And it doesn't take out anything from who you are or what you are doing. It's exactly the same. And also at the same time, you show your gratitude, your appreciation, and you can even reach out to the
Yeah.
person to say, oh, I love this. And it's beautiful when at the same time, both sides. Sometimes someone tell me, oh, Roberto, I did this iteration. I hope you don't mind. Don't mind. It's amazing. Thank you for doing an iteration of my work. And at the same time, when I reach out to a person, and from genuine, of course, not like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I loved it, and then you don't. But when I see something that I like, I usually, and this is something that I learn over time. I didn't do it in the beginning. And then I said, why not? If I like it, I send a message. If they don't see it, no problem. But if they see it, maybe they will appreciate it. And that's it, with no second intention, that appreciate. So, yeah, we
Yeah.
share also this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's at the end, we live by the values that we want to see in the world.
Mm.
So my idea of creating the post, well, I have always one objective when I create a content, is that there is at least one person that takes action.
Mm.
And there is going to be a few that where I planted the seeds. But overall, I create content, and the content I create is basically the reflection of the world that I want to live in. And again, it might be a little bit selfish, but if everybody just did just that, we probably would live in a much nicer world today. And I think that another thing that there is a commonality to that, and why I resonate so much with your content, is because your content is always very positive. So you give that the perspective, you always give, there is a comparison each time, right? But at the end, the message is very positive. And I think that's, again, something that we lack in today's world, because it's, here go, news that we talked about, or it's very easy to bash and to go into negativity bias and to say that everything is bad and everything is wrong. And a lot of people can jump on it and you can go viral, etc. But is it the world where I want to live in? Not necessarily. So I want to put out content there that will allow me to create the world where I want to live. And I believe in positive psychology. Again, I was not necessarily that kind of person in my 20s, but we all learn. And now I really see that when I can say something negative, don't do this, but the person will only remember this, what not to do, but they still don't know what to do. And so I prefer to immediately tell them what to do so that they can eliminate what not to do. So I think that's another, common thing that we have together.
Absolutely. And this connects with one thing, maybe it's loosely connected, but remind me of the idea of playing to win versus the playing not to lose. And yeah, what do you think about?
Well, look, this is so when I was working in Thailand and I participated in a leadership workshop. It was a leadership workshop by Duncan Kump, who is a professor, IMD school in Lausanne, I think. Yes. And he introduced this concept. He co-wrote this book called Care to Dare. And the whole idea of the leadership, and this is the leadership framework that I resonated the most, is that it's a 2x2, sorry. And it's based on the concept of we can't push people to perform unless we show them that we care. And there is this concept, when you don't care enough, you are set to lose, because people are not going to follow you. They are going to be anxious and maybe angry that you dare them, that you push them to the limits. And there's going to be a lot of burnout, anxiety, people leaving the companies. Whereas if you take this mindset of playing to win, you are first of all becoming a team member, because many managers and many leaders position themselves outside of the team. So when you decide I'm going to play to win, so you're playing with them, and the first thing that you do, you show them that you care. So whatever you do, whatever you challenge them with, when you push them, they know that you're doing that in the service of them because you want to win together. And I love this idea. And again, it resonated with me probably because of sports, because, when we, in corporate world, when we talk about feedback, we immediately think of something negative, right? Well, I've done something wrong. They want to give me feedback. Whereas in sports, if your coach doesn't give you feedback, you just simply don't grow.
Yeah.
It's like, and you want to win. So in sports, it's like, give me feedback. Come on. Come on. What did I do right? What did I do wrong? And that's how you improve. And I think that's why I think there is so much that is happening in sports that we can bring into the corporate life, including the hard work, because we all think it's, we get this promotion and, you don't need to work hard and all. But the people that we admire in sports, they all work extremely hard and they all love working, because they know that the only way to get to where they want to be is actually to put in the effort. And if we get this mentality and we bring it to the corporate world, again, we'll get more people who are happy, fulfilled, successful, because working is a process. And as long as you enjoy the process, you're going to get to where you're going.
Yeah.
But if you don't enjoy the process, it's, well, you're miserable, and miserable people don't get to where they want to be. It's just this.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is also contagious. If you're happy, probably you'll see more happier people, and this expands. Absolutely. And by the way, I love the book, and this is to cite the sources. I love everything from Joel Corriser. And there's another book which is called A Hostage at the Table, which is also amazing. We'll put it there in the comments. Probably my number one recommended book ever. I listened it 4 times. So if this idea resonates with you, if you are hearing this, I would definitely recommend it.
I will take that book from the comments, because this one, I haven't read this one. And Care to Dare, I haven't read the book, but because I attended the workshop, so for me it was sort of, I've done the work, but one day I'll read the book as well. Yeah.
And before, I think the time is running. We could go 1 hour. Yeah, it's already minutes. And before we check the chat, I'm super curious, and I would love to hear what's the thing that excites you the most at this moment. What's that project? Okay.
Oh, there's so, when you work for yourself, you want to do everything and all at once. And I was like, no, I just got to do one thing at a time. So I think one thing that I accomplished last year was my course. So I released my course in December, which was a huge thing for me. Thank you. I think I kind of stopped talking to people for 4 months just to release the course, but I'm proud because I got it, and so this is definitely number one thing. And now I am building a team workshop around the course as well, because I love working with groups, to be honest. I think there is a completely different energy, and there is this social intelligence that I enjoy the most as well, where I'm learning myself as well a lot. So this is sort of what I'm trying to put together, and let's see how it comes up. Yeah.
I'm sure it will be super fun. And what's the most unexpected or the most amazing thing that you learned during the course?
Oh, that I underestimated the work. I started writing the course 2 years ago, to be honest.
Wow.
So it was the same, probably. The idea is the same. I know that when you read, you put, you take notes, you track everything. For me, writing the course was this way of learning myself more, experimenting with those things, and sharing what I learned, and kind of keeping the track as well in one place. And so I started writing the course, and LinkedIn last year, creating content, allowed me to streamline, because most of the things that I shared last year were from the course, but it helped me really streamline to see what resonates, what didn't resonate, where people had more challenge, where it was a little less concrete to be put in the course. So it helped me to streamline. So the workload itself was actually, I never expected it to be so big, because we've all wrote a thesis, we wrote probably huge presentations at work and stuff. But working on a course is a completely different thing. So I think that the biggest surprise, challenge, but also fulfillment came from the fact that I've learned so much creating the course. And it's rarely I say about myself I'm proud, but I am proud.
And I think it should be, because also what I hear is that what you said in the beginning, I want this to have impact. I want someone to take one action, and you just didn't put something out. You iterated, you collaborated, you co-created with the people who interacts with you and with the things that you share. So you say, okay, this is, people is worried about this. Let's do something more. It's not like something completely separate. And this is probably why you are, and also rightfully proud of this because it's a result of all this iterative work which is building on top of each other. And also the workshop. Again, you have the course, you have all this knowledge, all these things, and you build on top of this, and you don't lose it. You just have all this knowledge, but then you add the live interaction, and I'm sure the experiment will be amazing. I'm curious to see how it goes.
Yeah, it's like I always give this analogy of building the house. You know, it's like there is the foundation, and then you put the first brick, the second brick, the third brick, the fourth, and so on and so forth. And that's how you build your house, whatever you want to call it. When you build your business, when you build your work, your career, you know, or even life in general. So yes, for me, it's I think that's also one of the productivity rules that I learned early on. And I also learned it from my dad as well. My dad had a number of businesses, but he never built two businesses at the same time. He always built one business, then he built the house. When the house was stable enough, he moved to the next one. He built a new foundation, the house, and he built to the next one. And I think this focus really allows us to build stronger things, more sustainable things, and things that have probably much stronger impact as well. Yeah.
It sounds like a sprint. You make a sprint, you focus on the sprint.
Project management.
Then you rest, then you do another sprint, and then you rest and you reassess and you see what happens. Yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
I will
you.
take that. I will also take that idea. What about we check the chat if we have some question? If not, okay, now maybe you can help me to check if we...
How do we see that? It's like, I am definitely not a tech person.
It's in the event page in the comments. So now I'm going to go to the comments and go to most recent.
Oh, okay. I
and see from
Okay,
the beginning.
so I have to go on LinkedIn.
14, 15 minutes. Let's go back from the beginning. Thank you everyone for the patient waiting while we are checking. Okay. Oh, okay. So now we have the first. Hi. Hapati. Good morning. Oh, Michael from Jamaica. George, this is my main event today. Thank you, George. Big responsibility here to worth of your time. Thank you for making time for us. Thank to you, Candice. Hi, Madalena. Muskan agrees. Hi, everyone. Hi, Arti. Hi, Stephen.
Don't see comments. Wow.
Yeah. If you
I'm
could
trying
only
to-
recommend your book. Okay, we have a question from Lewis here for UK. If you could only recommend your one book from that shelf behind you, which is not a virtual background,
It's not.
what would it be and why? Oh, great question. Thank you, Lewis. I'm curious.
I have to go around now and look for the book that I want to recommend. I think, well, when it comes to probably a productivity book, if you want to read a productivity book, I would probably say Make Time. That would be a great productivity book to read, and probably the only one that you would need to read overall.
Make
But if
Time.
I have to recommend any other book from my shelf, I like this one. Okay, you don't see it, but anyways, it's the Book of Joy. So it's by Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. I really love that book because it just brings a different perspective to life. We often, when we live in our own environment, that's the only life we imagine. And I think that book kind of opens that world of imagination to you for different kind of life that you can have and different joys that are available to us in everyday life that we might not even notice on a regular basis. So, and that's what traveling is for me as well. It's an opportunity to experience life that you thought that you didn't even know existed. So that book is definitely that way of traveling through different minds, and especially beautiful minds. I mean, by Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu. Yeah.
Thank you. Beautiful. I will note also from me. And I will add also one more.
Yes, please.
I already mentioned one, which is the Hostage at the Table from George Corizet. And
I'm taking
think
notes.
One of the main ideas, and the very powerful idea, is not to avoid uncomfortable conversations and to go and to care for the person, and and this is also conflict. We think that conflict is bad and we want to avoid conflict. At the same time, when we have a conflict from the, as you said, from a place of caring, not to wanting to win or to destroy, say, the other person, but I care, and I, because I care, I want to have this conflict, because if I didn't care, I would just let it go. And this is a beautiful way to strengthen even relationships. And the second book I will recommend is one that I also read it a few times, which is called Design Your Life. And it's a way to apply design thinking to our own lives, and like to run experiment to see what you like, and to there is a lot of practical questions and exercise that helps you to see, oh, what's something that I love to do, and how can I experiment and prototype without as you said, the house. You can build your house, but at the same time, you can do some little prototypes, very tiny, and see what next project can be.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
this is also a beautiful read. So these two would be my
Yeah, I
recommendation.
took notes. I took notes. So, they are going on the shelf. I usually buy 3 books. I finish them, then I buy 3 more. I finish them, so they are getting on the list for the moment, but then on the bookshelf.
Thank you. Okay, what else? Samira, hi. Roberto, the visual. Oh, thank you.
Oh, I finally can see comments.
Yeah.
Oh, oh.
Hi, Vansh. Jennifer, thank you. Thank you, Suyung. Thank you,
Okay.
Sonja. Watching news. Yeah, yeah. This is, again, your input influence your output. Exactly, Daniel. Exactly. Thank you, Vitalis. Hi, Emil. Life work integration. Yeah, this is also, Magdalena, something that we discussed, and we both agree on this. And another question
It's
from Lewis: could you talk
there.
more about your workflow? Ah, sorry, you were
Yeah,
saying
because I
something.
saw that there is a comment about Make Time is the book. I wish I was the author of Make Time. One day, very nice. There might be the Good Busy book, but but for now, it's the author is Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky. So yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I see the question from Lewis, which is, can you talk more about your workflows? I've seen Matt Gray describe his as a content waterfall where he just focuses on newsletter and he posts social post for the week, and then comes from reformatting and repurposing different parts. Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, maybe I will go first. Everyone has his or her system. So what I would say is find something that works for you and it doesn't feel like a chore. It has to be fun. It doesn't work to swallow 10 frogs a day.
No,
It has to be something that you are looking
no.
for. You see, oh, I'm so excited, I'm going to do this. So this would be my first advice, which is find whatever works for you. And for me, I mentioned a little, my system is like to capture a lot of things and put it in a huge backlog. So I always have more things to write about than time. So when the time comes, which by the way, I use a time box, which is I put specific moments, usually in the weekend, thanks to my family. Thanks, Anna, for being so generous. And I usually pick the things that excite me the most. And I do it from 1 week to the 2 weeks in advance. So it never looks like a chore. I never feel what's pressure to, oh, what do tomorrow. I always do 2 weeks in advance, so it's always like a fun moment, something that I look for, and so far it's pretty satisfying. How about you?
Okay.
Great.
It's actually quite similar, and it's also a weekend. I don't have Anna to thank. So, but I choose it to do on. So I don't work on Saturdays. That's really my day off. I don't do content. I don't do LinkedIn. I think it's important to rest. Rest is productive. Again, it comes from my sports days, I guess. That's the
Yeah.
mindset. I do my content in one batch. I do it on Sunday morning. It feels for me that the world is sleeping or doing something else, and I'm kind of alone in my own little world. And like you, I have a list of ideas. I have sort of thoughts, and every time I listen to something, it's like I have posted today that I wrote because I was listening to podcasts. I was like, that's an idea. So then it goes into sort of, as you call it, backlog, and then from there I pick up the topics for the week, and it can be anything. Tomorrow I'm posting about something weird. People are going to think I'm crazy, but I'm taking the risk. So let's see.
Yeah, and that's the spirit. Yeah, I love it. And I love it what you say about capturing things. This is super important. Capture everything. Capture. And this is much easier. And by capturing, you also notice more. So
Yeah.
this is a loop. And one more thing that you said, Lewis, about the repurposing. Of course, yes. If there is something that you like, you can do it again with a twist. You can perhaps add something. From imagine you post something and then you have a comment and then, oh, I like this. And then the next time you do an iteration and you add this perspective. So it's fresh and it keeps like you're not just like copying and pasting, which is also fine, by the way, because I listen to songs many times a year and it's exactly the same song.
And we still love it.
And we still love it because it's a classic. So, and maybe the conversation 1 year from now will be not the same. So there is always something different. And what I would say, if you're communicating, don't be scared of repurposing or like copying and pasting. If it's something that it feels like authentic to you, and if you genuinely think that if you saw this in another person, you will love it, that's okay. And if someone remembers it, it's because they liked it, so it's perfect. And if they don't remember it, maybe they like it, maybe no, maybe there are so much information that people will not remember. Yeah. So no problem. You can experiment. And as you said, you try, works, okay, doesn't work, it's okay. You had fun, you did your experiment. And
yeah, I think also fun is a key word here. And well, when I started doing content last year, a lot of people were saying, you know, to get ahead of the game, you need to post on weekends as well. And I tried, and it really didn't work for me. Like, I ate too many frogs, and it didn't feel good. So I said, weekend is not for me. Just doesn't work for me. So I think it's, when we talk about consistency and posting, etc., it doesn't necessarily have to be every day. It can even be twice a week or 3 times a week, and even once a week. I think that we like regularity, and it makes it familiar. So if you post every Monday, people just know you post every Monday, and that's it. And so they are waiting for you. And it's actually, I think it's good to give people a little bit of time to digest, because there is so much information out there. So it's not a bad thing. And then if you picked up the speed and you have, you know, your system and it works and you feel comfortable and you don't feel like you're eating too many frogs at the same time, you can then add one more and one more and one more. But it's important to keep it fun. Otherwise it becomes, it's not a nice feeling. And it's emotions are very much responsible for the work that we produce out there and how we feel at the end of the day. So need to be mindful of that.
Absolutely. I love it. We have more questions. Let's see. When you focus on your mind, absolutely, the focus. Hey, George, I also loved it, the course. Hi, York. Talking about distraction.
I feel like you don't see. I see the different comments. You see some comments.
I put it in the most recent and starting from the oldest one to the.
Okay. See, like. I have so much to learn here.
Intriguing to learn the story. Another person who doesn't watch the news, Verena, thank you.
Good.
Good.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the club. So young, creativity, connectivity, absolutely. Mindful procrastination, absolutely.
Yeah. Just do it. Like Nike would say, just do it.
Yeah. Human connection, playing with purpose, Okay, let's refresh a little once more. And also we are getting out of time we cannot be late, and we cannot be with the productivity coach.
No. I found a nice question for you. Maybe that's the one. So this is from Rohan. If we were to go back 5 years in time,
Mm.
what are three advice you would give to yourself if you were to take the same career life journey to be where you are today?
That's a good question. Well, I don't know if I have three or more. I would just improvise. But the first thing I would say is just, as you said, have fun. Have fun because this is contagious, and find something that you have fun with. And one thing is also that from every context, you can find something that we like. There is nothing, there is no perfect job, no perfect life, but we can always, always, always focus on something that we like. And then from this, we can make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And if we focus on that, the chances are it will become bigger because we will like that. So you will also attract similar things. So this will be the first focus on the positive, and always there always something to good. And then one more thing connected is with what we talk about having difficult conversation. Don't shy the conflict because this is where we grow. And even if it's uncomfortable and it's not the first thing that we would love to do in the morning, but it's probably what makes us grow more and have better relationship. And then one more thing, which is also connects with what we talk about, giving credit, etc., is to reach out to people. Reach out, and don't think that everyone has everything figured out, or that what we have to share is not worth. And maybe it's not interesting to someone, but maybe there's someone who finds what you are sharing interesting, and maybe you have a connection. Maybe you're learning. There's nothing to lose, and I like to think about all the things that I share here on this platform and in general as like a lottery ticket, which is you never
Nice one.
know who is going to read, and maybe someone will respond or send you a message or whatever, and you make a connection as we did. For example, now
Yeah.
we are talking 1 year
Yeah.
after you
Yeah.
share a lot of things, and this would not have been possible
Yeah.
if I didn't share and if you didn't reach out. So
Yeah.
this is a beautiful example, at
Exactly.
least for me, of
No,
very
for me
good.
too.
And
Yeah.
also trusting the process, and don't be worried about the short-term results, which is very easy to say, and at the same time it's not so easy to do something day after day after day after day and not seeing result. This is also why it connects with having fun. If you have fun, will not be something that, oof, I don't feel like that doing. You will keep on, keep on, keep on doing, and maybe you'll do something different, but it's also okay. You have to find something that you are excited about enough to keep doing regardless of the results. And then, of course, the results and the validation, all these things are important. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm saying that don't do it just for that.
Yeah.
What's your
I
take?
I want to add. I think it's. I love. I mean, I love the wisdom that you shared. But on the point three, the connection, and you don't know what people are going through and what you can learn from them, or if it's gonna
Yeah.
be useful for them. I think one piece of advice I would give to myself 5 years ago is to ask for more help. I am not great asking for help. It's a process. I'm still learning. But I think that I realized that there are so many more people who actually are willing to help,
Yes.
but they don't know that others need help. And if, I start thinking that help is only one question away. And when we don't ask, we just don't get. And it's definitely something that I'm trying to do more of today. It's never late. So it's an advice I would have given to myself 5 years ago, but I still say it to myself every day, ask for help. And I do realize that people are willing to help.
Yeah.
And I think you talked about it. It's the about giving and the book Give and Take. And I really think that there are so many givers out there in this world. We need to ask questions in order to meet them.
Yes.
So they are there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And what I hear is also that you are humble enough to recognize that you don't have all the answers, that you
Oh
can do
no.
it all on your own. And at the same time, you're confident because I know what I don't know and I want to improve. and at the same time it sends a message to the person that I admire you, I respect you, and this is why I'm asking for help and I'm asking for your advice. Then you can choose, you can say yes, no, no compromise, but it's a message
Yeah.
that you give, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
I'm
Yeah.
currently, I just say one last thing. Do we still have time? Just, I don't know.
Well, it's 4 p.m. In point, so perfect. You can go
Okay,
ahead with
quickly. I'm taking a communications course now, and there is one message that sort of the teacher said. He said that, in order to succeed, we need an army. And it doesn't
Mm,
necessarily mean that this army needs to report to you or anything, but you need to create an army around you of people who are willing to be there for you and who are willing to help. And you can be part of an army of other people as well. And I love kind of that message. And I think that's why I don't believe that there are individual sports, because there is no tennis player that walks, wins the tournaments and says, I want to thank myself. No, the first thing that they do is that they thank the opponent, and then the second message goes to the team, because there is
yes.
always an army behind the people that you see, but there is a huge army behind those people. And so it's our job to also create the army for ourselves.
Oh, I love it. And this also connects with me with the idea of co-creation. And then you create something with people, and sometimes you take a role, sometimes you take another, and then you change. And you don't have to be always in the front, or you can be in the back. You can just be resting, and you know that you have all these resources and these amazing people at your, let's say, disposal. and, and
Yeah.
yes, it is brilliant. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Kate.
Well, thank you. Thank you again for inviting me. I really
Thanks to
enjoyed
you.
our conversation. So thank you.
Me too.
And
Before we wrap up,
for everyone who came.
yeah, absolutely. And
Thank you.
one more thing before we close, how can people reach out to you? What's the best way? If
LinkedIn.
yeah,
DM. I honestly reply to every single DM, even the salesy ones, but I do. I think it's respectful. I think yes. It might take a few days, but I'll get back to you. So DM me. DM me.
great. Okay, so thank you, Kate. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for your investing this time. We hope has been useful. This
I hope so.
has been useful for me. I learned a lot, and I have a lot of things that I want to write down later. So
Yes.
thank you. And now let's see if I can find the
A
message.
way to.
Yeah, and stop.
Okay.
So thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye
Bye.
bye.